Hey friends, I'm sitting in Caroline right now because it's going to be super hot later when I get home because it's super hot right now. I only got after today, 3 more days of Caroline, and then we get a great summer break, so I'm looking forward to that. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about my garlic harvest, and specifically an issue, if you will, that I had with my garlic. And it's a unique thing. It was tough to find information about it, but I just kept digging. So I first noticed this going on with my garlics probably between February and April, because when garlic grows, when you first get the clove in the ground, like, it starts getting the shoot coming up, and then the side leaves start to come out. But from this experience now, I can tell you that there comes a point where the green leaves or side leaves that come out, they pretty much come to a certain point, and then after that the plant goes into focusing on growing the clove. So I started to notice this thing happening where new little shoots were coming up in the middle of the garlic plant. And at first, because I had only grown garlic one other time and it was just like 3 and so I noticed that this was happening, these new kind of tiny shoots that looked a little bit more like green onion stems. And at first I thought maybe that they were going to flower. But I never did see a flower stem come up. So I'm going to show you. So because of that, I was like, and some of my stems were like this big around. So I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to harvest my garlic, because I believe I planted like either the first week in November, first week in December. If you want to know for sure, ask me in the comments and I'll look it up. But so the 1st of April, like April 7th, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and dig down around this garlic, see if it's well formed, and then I'm going to pull it if it is. And so I did, and it looked huge. It was amazing. I was like, oh yes. And then there were 2 more that looked like that. So the other 2 were in the same bag. So I did the same thing. I scurried down under the soil, and the cloves were good size. So I got them on out of the bag. And so this is a picture of what they looked like, those 3 that I took. And so I hung them up, kind of halfway braided them together, but I hung them up out on the patio. And then I was doing something, it had been a day or 2, and I happened to look over, and then the garlics look like this. Well, I need one finger pointing. So I was like, what the heck? And somebody else had already said on Instagram that they thought that I harvested too early. And I asked someone else that I consider a mentor in gardening for questions outside of my box. And especially if I can't find an answer, because every time I tried to search this, it would just say that the garlic was going to flower. So even that person was like, you harvested too early. And I just wasn't satisfied. I knew that if I had these huge cloves, then this wasn't a matter of harvesting too early. There had to be more to it. So I finally found what it was called. It's called witch's brooming. So in this video, I'm going to show you what those type of garlic plants look like compared to what I'd say normal garlic plants. I'm going to show you what it looks like, because in the picture that I just showed you, that split happened after obviously I'd picked it. When I picked it, it looked like it was a nice strong head, and it lost that outer paper, and then boom, it just revealed that they were all already split. So I'm going to show you also what it looks like when they split. They're still in the ground. Like, I didn't get them out soon enough, so they split in the ground. And then you're going to get to see how I harvest, because I saved some to harvest. I'm also going to share with you my harvest, because it's something to brag about, friends. And I really hope that it's a huge inspiration for you to grow some garlic next year. because October, November, December, that's kind of the window that we want to get our garlic in. So put a note on your calendar, or I'll try to remind you in the fall. So let's go check this out. And you got to know that my little dog put on quite a show in this. So here we go. Okay, so I just shared with you, about how about a month ago I pulled up about, I think it was like 3 garlic cloves. And I did that because they were doing this odd thing here where instead of the clove, just forming and being straight up like this is how it should look. It started doing this thing where it was making little stalks come up. And in the very beginning, I thought that this was that it was going to go to flower. But and especially again on those first 3 that I harvested, no flower ever formed. What happened is slowly the base of this was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and more of these new things were coming up. And so then you saw in the first photo where when I harvested them, they looked great. They were like full, strong cloves. And then after a day or two, they, pretty much split. So this is one that split a great deal. And this is the result of not getting it harvested. It split all the way down while it was in the soil. And this is one that's smaller and got all the little splitting there. And then again, you can see that every single clove in there split. So there's not a lot of information out here on this. But this phenomenon is called brooming, or witch's broom, because that's kind of what it ends up looking like. Like you could maybe sweep if you wanted to, if you will, with these. And there's not really anything that you can do to prevent it. The issues come from either a lot or like too much nitrogen, or major fluctuations in temperatures. And obviously in Arizona, we go through that all the time, because we go from where, especially in the winter, we had some really cold nights, and then it'd warm up, and then we would have some more really, really cold nights. So this is another odd one that had some brooming going on at the top, but it's split off and formed into 3 different clumps here. So I know that I was consistent with feeding my garlic, but I was never pushing more nitrogen than anything else in the garden got. So for me, I know that the explanation must be the fluctuations in temperature. And it wasn't, it was the same thing coming into spring, but even more dramatic than what we were seeing in the winter, because it'd warm up to the 80s, and then it would drop back down to the 60s, and the overnight temperatures would be really nice, and then they would go down really low again. And so that confuses the plant and makes it think that it needs to go into kind of replanting itself. So it splits up, like this, thinking that it's going to reproduce, because that's all every single plant's goal is to do. Now, the drawbacks are those aren't going to be very good for storage. And by storage, I mean, a lot of people want to, will braid their garlic up, and they will save it till, and then use it until it's gone. And so it's not going to store that well, the ones that broomed, because they're going to split and they don't have that tight outer casing on them, because that's what happens is the outer casing splits away, and then all of the cloves begin to form their own casings, again becoming their own individual plants. So this is another one. That last one that we just pulled up didn't look so bad, but this one you can tell is going to have quite a bit more splitting that's taking place. So I'm just going to get a little bit of dirt off here. And so there again, this one is split off from the main, but I guarantee you after like a day or so of curing, just kind of drying on the patio, that the rest of these will surely break away from each other. Now, for me, this doesn't really matter because my goal for garlic isn't necessarily long-term storage where I'm going to be trying to use fresh garlic throughout the season. My little helper always. So what my goal is to replace, to compensate for the amount of garlic powder that we use, because we use, 2 or 3 big containers. I can't remember how many ounces it makes up that we get from Costco. We use a lot of powdered garlic. So my goal is to dehydrate this garlic anyway, and any of the little pieces will go into getting pickled. So it doesn't bother me so much that I had some deformities, so to speak, because I know what my intentions are. And so if you, I've got enough that if I wanted to store it, I could, but at the same time, you just kind of work with what you've got. The good thing about it is it's not really lost. I mean, there was a really small one in a bag over there on the ladder that the birds kind of got into. So that's the only one that I don't really have. So see, this is kind of split off and became 2 pretty good garlic heads. And one broomed some and the other didn't broom a lot. So I don't know what the future of these 2 are going to be. So that's the phenomenon there. That's an issue that you can have with your garlic. And so this is, my harvest. And I don't know why I started going one way and then changed directions, but there's some really amazing garlic in here. Nice, that didn't, broom on me. So again, I could store these if I wanted to. And then this, so the only bag that I didn't harvest is this bag over here, and I don't know, maybe it was in the shade a little too much, but you can tell it doesn't have very much yellowing going on at the base, and the top is still really strong and really green. So I'm gonna give those another week or 2. Most of this garlic, look at this guy.
You're not supposed to be in bags. If you want it, you can take it and get down. Get down.
You're not listening very good. So I had about 10 plus bags that no sir, get down. I had about 10 plus, no sir. Here, you can have this. This is garlic or broccoli that keeps growing. Yeah, take that. So I planted 10 plus bags because they were stuck in all kinds of different random containers. And this was from it was a 2-pound bag of garlic that I got from Costco. And again, we picked out all the largest cloves, and there were a lot of large cloves. So I want to say just under 2 pounds of garlic that I planted. And then we pickled, again, all the little pieces. And so that was nice. And where'd my Hori go? Hori. What'd I do with my... Oh, there it is. Sometimes you have to kind of come down here under the roots and cut them away just a little bit to loosen them up. So again, I planted just under 2 pounds of garlic. Next time I should weigh it, like everything that I'm actually going to plant. That'll give me a better look at what. Stop it! No sir. He's like, there's not supposed to be this many in a bag. Stop it! It's my best friend. No. Okay, so I'm interested to see how much this is. So I planted, I'd say, just under 2 pounds, and my big goal for this year is to be weighing all of my harvest. So I know that from that first bag I got just about this guy, he won't stop. So I know that I got about 1/3 of a pound of garlic that time. And so if I get, definitely I'm gonna get more than 2 pounds, but it'll be interesting to see what the plant, how much I planted versus how much I get out. And so I'm gonna probably let this dry just a day or two, and then so that'll take me into the weekend, and then I'll process it, and I'll cut the tops off and trim the roots a little bit. You don't want to wash your garlic unless you're going to go use it. If you're going to let it cure for any amount of time, or if you're going to process it later, then you definitely want to avoid washing it. Just leave it in these just leave it in the husks, and that will, Winston, you're like,
We haven't had playtime today, Mom.
okay, so that will keep it safe because the casing will keep it protected. No sir, no sir. He's out of control today. Hey, come here, come here. So we're gonna go back over here, Winston. So that'll keep it protected if you avoid washing it, and just, I'm just shaking the dirt off, and then after that I'll get them laid out flat, get you a good picture of what they look like and how many I got, how many of these I actually got. And then, like I said, at some point in time I'll let you know how much I processed, like what was my weight before I went into processing. So I hope you have enjoyed learning about some issues that can come up with garlic, some tips about growing garlic, and I hope that this inspires you, as always, to try growing some of your own garlic. And you definitely don't want a little garden dog like this to always be digging around in your stuff. So say bye-bye. I decided to bring you back for the big reveal. Like, there's some really big ones down here, like this one's huge. So some of them are about what you get at the store, some of them are smaller, like that one's not so great, especially compared to that one, or even that one right there. But this is my second time doing this, and I definitely would say that I had a lot of success. These are the ones that broomed on me, but like, again, I mean, that's my hand, That's pretty awesome garlic. And I've got a couple that have broken necks. I gotta find them again, because I'm gonna take those directly into the kitchen. There's one. That one's got a broken neck, and this one does too. But I'm pretty pleased with this, and a picture just wasn't gonna do it justice, so I had to show you the full effect. I hope you found that interesting. I love learning new things, even if they end up a little wonky. It helps me uncover stuff that I know other people have or will run into this problem, and people are going to give them the wrong information. So I'm always excited when I've got the good information to share with you. So I hope this inspired you to grow garlic, and I hope you have the best day ever.